Well, hello and welcome back. Welcome back to Two Turtles Homestead. Today I'm going to be continuing on with small batch canning, and so part of the reason I'm doing this is just kind of show. I know there's tons and tons of videos on YouTube about canning, the canning process, but it's not going to be a tutorial on a how-to. It's kind of just showing you what we do here, because Jim and I are just two old folks, just two old turtles living on a homestead and trying to do the best we can. And we do grow our own garden, and it's not a huge garden. And I know a lot of the videos that show canning they're doing large all-day batches of canning. So I wanted to show kind of how easy it is just to preserve your own food with just doing small batch canning. So so the other day I did 8 pints of pickles, and just as I was going through my daily routine, and doing stuff up in the summer kitchen. So today I'm in my regular kitchen, just because I've got things going on inside the house. I'm making some kombucha. I'm actually making a kombucha SCOBY. So I want to start making my own kombucha. That's for another time. But anyway, so I picked these green beans yesterday out of my garden, and so this is probably about the amount of green beans that we get in any one picking. So I like to pick them young and tender because we like sauteed green beans, as well as this is the kind that I like to can. So I just want to show you, this is probably going to be about 4 pints, maybe even just 3 pints, so we'll see. But that's the reason why I like my Instant Pot Max, because I can in small batches. So just wanted to show everybody that, and so come on and follow along with me. And these are Blue Lake stringless beans. We've been growing these for, I think that's all we've ever grown since we've been gardening. And I like to cut them into maybe 1 inch, little 1 inch pieces. They fit easier in the jar, and they cook better. And it's just like perfect 1 bite green beans. So we don't have to string them. And I just cut them up, and then I'm gonna soak them in cold water for probably 2 or 3 hours today. Sometimes if I get late, I'll stick them in the fridge and soak them overnight. But then I'm gonna rinse them really good, and then I'm going to blanch them in boiling water for about 5 minutes, and then we'll jar them up and put them in the canner. And they can on high pressure for 20 to 25 minutes. We are right in the line of being, we're just over 1,000 foot in elevation. So I usually, especially if I'm pressure canning low acid foods, I will usually add 5 minutes to the time. It doesn't degrade the quality of beans, and just, feel a little bit safer canning it for 5 minutes. But then I always, I don't ever just open up a jar of these beans and eat them. I think that's where people get in trouble. I will, even though these have been pressure canned and technically cooked, whenever I go to eat them or have them for a meal, I will cook them on low, sometimes in my crock pot, for several hours, and add in flavoring, bacon bits or bacon grease or whatever I feel like. But I never just heat and eat these. I always continue to cook them for at least an hour. Okay, we're down to our last few beans, and I took probably about 30 minutes to get them all cut up in between video, and it's a little quicker than that when you're not doing it on the video. So I'm gonna get these last few cut up, and then we'll get them rinsed and soaking in water. All right, last 3. All right, and that's my haul. Just gonna give them a good rinse around, get a little agitation in there. Get any dirt or anything from the rain that may have gotten on them. So we'll just give them a good rinse off. Into this to soak. I'm just going to cover them in water, put the lid on them, and let them sit in the fridge and soak for a few hours. There we go. Into the fridge it's going. Okay, so my beans have been soaking in the refrigerator pretty much all day. It was about 10:30 this morning when I did that. It's now 3:45, so I'm going to start by sterilizing my jar. So I'm going to put 3 cups of water in my pot there, and then I'm going to put the jars in upside down, and then I'm going to just set it on low pressure for 10 minutes while I get go canning, low pressure. I'll let it vent naturally for 10 minutes. And hit start. And wait for that to get done. And as soon as they're done, I'm gonna get the beans blanching on the stove. So in the meantime, I also made some bread today. These in the water. I just have enough water in this pot just to barely cover them, so we're going to bring that to a boil and let it boil for 5 minutes. Alright, the beans have finished blanching, so I'm going to turn that off, get my jars out of the Instapot, and get them jarred up. I'm going to put a 1/4 teaspoon of salt in each of the jars. I just prefer to do that when I'm canning them, and I'm just using pink Himalayan salt. I'm just going to ladle the green beans in the jars. We're going to leave about a 1-inch headspace. Alright, so I'm just going to ladle the hot liquid from where I boiled the beans. I'm going to ladle that right over the top of them. So I'm going to fill it to about 1-inch headspace. To take my debubbler and get all the air out. Shouldn't be much air in there since I packed them in so tight, but I just run this around the rim of the jar. And each one, try not to break up the beans. I kind of just run it down the side and let's see, kind of just run it down the side and push inward. And I don't know if you can see, it releases a few bubbles here and there. And I'm gonna wipe the rims off and get the lids on them. Alright, now I'm gonna just load them in the Instant Pot. And there's a little rack in the bottom of the Instant Pot that keeps them from banging around too much. So I'm gonna load them in there, and then I'm gonna fill it to, you fill it to where it's 1/3 of the jar, which is approximately 6 cups of water. And so there's already 2 cups of water in here from when I sterilized the jar. So I just have to add about 4 cups of water. So I'm gonna do that before I put that last jar in there. It's hard for me to see down in here when all 4 jars are in there, so I like to pour the water in there when I can see. I think that might actually get it. Once I put this jar down in there, it's gonna raise that water level a little bit. All right, so yep, I think that's gonna get it. So as you can see, it fits 4 jars quite nicely, and so I'm gonna get that going. And we're gonna turn it on. We're gonna hit canning, and then I'm gonna take it to max pressure. I don't want it to keep warm. And then I'm gonna run that up to 25 minutes, and then put my lid on and hit start, and then I'm gonna let it naturally vent. Preheat, and then when it gets through preheating, it's gonna start the countdown to 25 minutes, and then it'll probably take 20 minutes or so for them to, for the pressure to release. So that's it, and that's the beauty of canning with this thing, because now I can set that and go about my day and finish doing some other things. So I'll check back as soon as this is done. Okay, so it's just come up to temperature and pressure, and as you can see, it is canning at 244 degrees, and will run for 25 minutes. We'll be back after that. All right, so the Instant Pot just clicked off. The processing time is finished, so now, see, it's 5:13. We'll see how long it takes for the pressure to naturally release, and then I'll get the jars out. All right, 6:26, so this took it took an hour and 15 minutes or so for the pressure to release. But look how good they look. We will just let them sit right here until the lids seal, and then they'll be ready to put up. All right, so this is the final product of my green beans from yesterday's pressure canning. I canned 4 jars, but I actually am cooking one today for dinner. So, and just to reiterate about small batch canning, you can see here is all of the canning I have done over the last 3 weeks or so. So, yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that you can do small batches and not take up a whole lot of time. And so, hey, give small batch canning a try, and don't get so overwhelmed with the big garden hauls, and get out there and grow your own groceries. See you next time. Bye.